Hi, Hannibal Barca. I wanted to elaborate or just reiterate or try again some of my description. It's still off the cuff. I haven't prepared anything better to say. I just thought I was kind of subdued and it was late at night and I sort of showed I was tired, which I don't mind in general, but in this specific case, I'm trying to explain something. So going more directly off of your title, the delusional aspect of objectivism, one thing it shares with other kinds of market libertarianism, market anarchy, and so forth, is that it's pretty ahistorical, and there is a moving of the goalposts inherent in that. But they tell us that private entities left to their own devices will behave a certain way, and they say, well, if people have a consensus and that certain things will still be illegal, and how are you going to police it? As if you could police pollution by, hey, you got pollution on my property, I'm going to sue you. I mean, first of all, the thing's already polluted, but secondly, how is the court going to be strong enough to enforce some verdict? These guys, and when you bring up the examples, if you talk about, well, George Hearst was in lawless, government-free Deadwood, and he brought in Pinkertons to be his own private army and police force for him personally. I mean, and they just always will go back on a thing like that and say, will this or will that, or and look, there was always a government. They love that one. It's like, since throughout history we've always pretty much in written history had things we call government. Government's always been there. It's like, well, you don't know, because how it would work if government wasn't there. If the sun wasn't there, you don't know. We have to try it without the sun. And it's ridiculous, because of course there have been many cases of private entities, and this is where governments come from, and the need for security and lawless places makes the business interests, even if they don't want to, marshal together some sort of security infrastructure for everybody, right? And if they turn that over to the people, as they ought to rightfully do, then it becomes, what we call a modern democratic government with the so-called monopoly on this thing. And they want to act like, you concentrate the monopoly of force there, and then since nobody else is allowed to do force, you just get rid of them, and then there's no force. But it's like, what? Private entities are breaking the law all the time now. There's not any prohibition on force that's real, like as if it's out there in the real world. It's just because we have these systems in place, obviously, as I know you know. So, I do consider that pretty delusional. I have these old market anarchy and objectivism videos, and you just consistently for years just come in the same old comments, and oh, but only that can only happen if there's a government and this and that and the other, and it's like there's no structural analysis to what they think. You talk about someone could get landlocked. Oh, but no, why would somebody landlock and somebody else and not let them off their? That's crazy. Like, people aren't crazy. I mean, they're telling us the world is crazy, but we should count people aren't crazy. I mean, it's not crazy anyway. If it's legal, it's supposedly okay, and it's your property, why should you have to let them go across it? They pissed you off on Thursday, or you want their water rights or whatever. So